Hey guys, it's Weepunion, and in this video I'm going to be doing an analysis on how I expect the Russians to fight for Kharkiv in case of a fight over taking the city. First of all, they would need to focus a lot more troops in the area. They would need at least 100,000 troops, but preferably about 150 to 200,000. Then I expect them to be pushing uh, down the road here and moving towards Kharkiv, and as well as in this direction. And this is in assessment of if the offensive happens during the fall season, as most of the ground will be muddy at that time and will be difficult for heavy weapons. If we then push towards here, and all these areas, there are patches of forest where the Ukrainians can actually ambush them, so this is all difficult territory for them. But they will have to push to the west of Kharkiv and then to the south to cut off the railway that goes through this area. And then they will have to attack straight ahead to keep the Ukrainian forces busy outside the city, and then they will have to form a blockade around the city. Just like this. So they will have to be pushed in these areas, as well as from Izium. And this would make it so that there's still this one supply line over here. So they'll have to push further south from further south, so from here as well. This is very long area, so they have to take this area before summer ends, as it will be difficult once fall hits and the ground becomes muddy. So they have to take this area as well as push towards this village over here, taking this, as well as Pokitne, as well as the roads up to Kharkiv and around it. To create this circle around it, which will encircle the city itself. And then they will have to defend these roads from this area, from over here, here, and here, as well as here and here. These are the most important areas, as these are the choke points at which they can set up proper defensive positions, as well as cut off all roads to Kharkiv from the west. Other than that, they have to, of course, take this area and make sure that the Ukrainians don't enter the Russian territory, as well as push the front line to look something like this. With the front line like this, they will be able to prevent any Ukrainian reinforcements while capturing these villages, these 4 choke points. This will allow the Russians to cut off any support from the Ukrainian side, as well as set up proper defensive positions that all have patches of forests next to them, as well as if we look at a topographic map, live UA map. We look at the topographic map, we can see that these areas are actually all advantageous. As you can see, most roads are actually in valleys. So by taking up defensive positions in the patches of forest next to them, you'll have both the high ground and an oversight of the roads, as well as defensive position that is camouflaged in the forest. And they will be able to set up artillery positions on the front line to the north in these areas to actually hit all the areas that are within range, as it will allow the Russians to provide fire support as well as the defensive positions, and they will have supply lines, as they will be able to connect these roads together if they defend the road from up here and over here. These are the choke points, so they can move down from Russia inside, go down here and provide logistical support to all of the choke points. And from the east, they will be able to provide from over here. And this ring road around the city. By taking fire control of the ring road around the city, the Ukrainians have to defend the city by, or make sure that they occupy the important parts of the city by going around the civilian areas and industrial areas. And if they manage to cut off the city like that, they will be able to prevent any support from reaching Kharkiv, as well as it'll allow them to slowly occupy the city and provide green corridors for the civilians to escape towards Russia. And it'll also allow for the soldiers to be starved out by cutting off the logistical supply. So strategically speaking, this provides all the benefits of a siege. However, it will be very difficult on the soldiers. It will be very taxing, and it's very dangerous operation, as Kharkiv is a huge city, as well as all of these patches of forest next to it, which will create difficult situations for the Russians as they try to take over these choke points. And these choke points are most likely to be heavily fortified as well, as the Ukrainians are all aware of these areas that are connecting these roads together, as they know that once the terrain becomes muddy, it will be difficult for the Russians to travel without using the roads, and most of the roads will also be mined. So it'll be a slow takeover, and it will probably take a lot of months, maybe even half a year, just for this one city, as all of the progress will be really slow, and it will take up a huge part of the Russian army to take it. And this is because they're using the strategy of not blowing everything up completely. We may see videos of cities being completely decimated, but those are the cities where the Ukrainians have fortified a lot and there are no civilians, like Avdiivka and Pisky and so on. These cities are so well fortified and are completely abandoned by civilians, as it's primarily a fortified city for military use at the point of no contact of the Ukraine civil war earlier than the invasion of Russia. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching and have a great day. See you all next time.